I would like to make your first million. And today we have Dylan with us, and he's the founder of Sony HQ, a human-first WordPress hosting and support company that helps entrepreneurs simplify the tech, reclaim the time, and grow with clarity. With over 10 years of experience in design system and business leadership, Dylan has helped thousands brands move from digital counts to sustainable momentum. So, Dylan, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend to entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Harry, thanks for having me on. So yeah, 5 steps. You know, it wasn't one overnight trick, but if I had to break it down to 5 steps, the first and most important is solve a real problem. Start with something that genuinely needs fixing, not something that maybe you think needs to be fixing, but do some testing. Build reoccurring revenue early. So my first agency was all custom work, right? So we were constantly hustling. We're hustling to get the work, hustling to do the work. And, you know, you can't really rest in that case. And you can't really even bring a formula to that. Then comes systematize. I used to say systematize things ruthlessly, right? So really find the essence of what you do. Build a system around that. Build a high touch level. For us, it was high touch support. And we were able to scale that. We can scale over 100 customers per support person on our side. So really, we use technology tools, but a human side, and we're able to scale that. So finding in your business what you can bring a system to is super important. My favorite, probably prioritize alignment. You know, businesses are personal, so we really need to prioritize that alignment with who we are as people. I had to learn this the hard way. I burned out. My business was fantastically successful and a wonderful business, but it was at its core out of alignment with who I was. And then lastly, I'd say listen more than you pitch. I think I suffered from this early on. We talk. We can do this for you. We can do that for you. But we've got to listen to our customers, right? Our customers are going to tell you exactly what they want. So really listen to them, because if you then turn around and build a system around that, you're gonna have great success.
So, becoming a multimillionaire in tech business is easy. People might think that because Dylan, 1 out of 5 multimillionaires that we interviewed this podcast, 5 steps how to make your first million, is tech entrepreneur that have exit their career. You spend all your life bringing tech to businesses and digitalizing. So why do you think that it's a large portion of entrepreneurs that they are becoming wealthy in the companies, and what do you think that is a good part of the ugly of entrepreneurs bringing adapting, bringing the technology to the business, especially the traditional business?
So I didn't quite get the question. I'm hearing just a little bit of background noise.
Okay, so what do you think that entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs, have succeeded more than others in terms of exiting the business?
Oh, well, I mean, I think, the big part is that system. I mean, I think, tech entrepreneurs by default, right? They're building a system. And, I think they're coming to solve a significant problem, whether that's in an app development or a website or some kind of even technology system that they're going to install within a business to help a business process. And then that by default, right, is they're developing that system from the very beginning. So they're, just like I said earlier, right, they're finding where that gap in the marketplace is, and then they're solving it with a system. If there's any, I think one of the things we try to do is enter more people into it, which I think is really important, so that it's not just a technology play. But I think in general, they're succeeding more simply because the product that they develop is more naturally a system.
Why you starting in this business? Are you software developer? Are you programmer? Are you marketing expert? Why? How you end up to become an entrepreneur? What's the story?
I think I've always worked for myself. I mean, from the time I was in high school, I always wanted to run businesses. I started washing windows. This is in the 80s, before the internet, and I think I saw an ad on television for a window washing system, and it came with things for the hose. And so I went around town and got some different little residential contracts with people to go wash their windows. And I think, to me, I couldn't imagine. I've worked a few jobs for other companies, but for me, it was about, when I worked for the company, I realized really quickly that I didn't have the ability to design my future, right? It was always about, yes, I could get a promotion and go to that next level. But when I saw things that I really knew were being done incorrectly or just not being done effectively in a business, I had very little ability to make that change. And it's super frustrating. And even if my way wasn't the right way, because listen, they're not always the right way. But the cool thing is I get to fail as being an entrepreneur. I get to fail, but I get to pivot really quickly and make changes. And I actually find that, really fascinating and enjoyable. I fit where a lot of people look at me and they're like, how can you be so comfortable when you start a business? And for me, that's the most fun part. The first 3 to 5 years, when you don't know all the answers, when you're trying to put together the puzzle. But to me, that's exciting. What's not exciting? Go do the same thing every single day. You have to look for,
100%.
You have to look for these little opportunities to do something fun and creative. And it's very difficult.
I agree with you, because when you're in business, every day something happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day
is
a
different.
New challenge. Every day is new challenge. New problems. So that anyone told you that was no good idea to become an entrepreneur, that it's better to study and pursue your career?
I think it was, and maybe this is how naive I was, right? I remember when I started my first business with a partner. And we had rolled out of a company that had gotten too big too fast and failed. And, it was in the early 2000s. And honestly, we looked around and we were like, what do we do now? And I literally just said, we should just start a business. And we jumped into it overnight. We had a little bit of business. At the time we were just building websites and maybe doing some light branding work. And I think the naive part was like, well, I guess it's a leadership. It's a way I've led my life, right? I will just go jump in full force and do it with no real understanding of how it could fail. I just went and thought, well, sure, this is going to work. We're going to do this thing and people are going to want it.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life. Yeah. We just jump in and then find out. Like, oh, I didn't know this.
At the end of the day, it's that confidence that people look for, whether you've got a business that's brand new or whether you're 20 years old. People want to buy from you because you're confident about what you can do for them. And I think we showed that early on. And so, that really ended up being the story of my first business start.
Yeah. And I think I always work with speed of implementation. Yeah. So if I jump into a business very quickly, we start to do everything. So if it's not gonna work, we will know very quickly. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. You want to know quick.
Unless they have a big ego and you are stubborn, which was me when I was young. I started my first business. Not my first business. My first business was profitable, very successful. The next ones, one of them, I decided that I'm gonna open a restaurant in Brick Lane in London, basically. And it was a Spanish restaurant. And with mine, I didn't have any clue about anything. Rather than call it Lola Pepe, I call it Harry Spanish stuff. So even from the name, this was set up for disaster, And and oh my God, and then I have a girlfriend back there, and her mom was an entrepreneur. And as soon as this woman opened the restaurant, she told me, Harry, close it. This is gonna fail. This
Yeah.
is a very bad idea.
Yeah.
Close
Yeah.
this. And then I had this ego. I can make everything work because my first business was successful. I'm the big deal. I can make work everything. Oh man. After 2 years, I lost 200,000 pounds. The 2 years of my life, the girlfriend, but obviously the mom told me, what are you doing with this loser? So, so when the business failure, only failure was a total disaster, also the personal life. I realized that I did something wrong,
Right.
because everybody was out of my life. So I said, well, this time maybe I had to think a little careful. However, Dylan, this experience taught me what I didn't want moving forward. I
Hmm.
didn't know clearly what I want, but I realized, okay, this is what I don't want. I don't want any business
Yeah.
anymore. That I have to be Monday to Sunday. That I have to
Yep.
do this. That with this race, with so much input, blah blah. So sometimes the worst day in your life becomes the first day of your life. In your case, you said that the first business was fast too soon, and it didn't work. However, when you come as a second time founder, the interesting thing is you signing, you started marketing program, right? So you guys realize this is a characteristic of second time founders. First time founders, they're in love with the product. They think that they're going to make this product that's going to sell by itself, and they put a lot of time, money, and energy in the product. Second time founders, they understand that, if you know how to do marketing and sales, you can actually after develop the product because to whom in front you can put it, for how much you sell it. So how you guys,
Yep.
it was by kind of an accident, it's marketing thing, or out of your first failure, you knew that now you're gonna be something sustainable. What happened, or was out of coincidence that you opened this marketing company?
Well, yeah. So I think the first business was a marketing branding business. The second business, we manage WordPress websites, soup to nuts. And so, and I like what you said, and it's exactly what I found. First business, and keep in mind, first business ran extremely well, highly profitable, all the things. It was just out of alignment with who I was. There was not, enough of me in it. And so, I took the very best things from the learnings in that first business and into the second business, and not just for business sake, but right. So we interpersonal into it. So instead of me, so where were the failures? I worked 70 hours a week for 10 years. I didn't know two of my kids really well, right? I mean, I was a father, kind of, and that's horrible. Like when we dismiss that part of our life just for the sake of this business, it's a distraction. And so when I
We
designed
just
the
don't know
second,
any better.
yeah,
We don't know
we
any
don't know,
better. We try
right?
to exactly. How can we know?
Yeah. Yeah. So in the second business, I first sat down and said, well, okay, where's the problem that I want to solve? From a business perspective, but what kind of time do I want to have for this business? Do I want to set something up that has me working 10, 12 hours a day? No. I want to set something up too that's not completely dependent on me to solve every single issue. Again, building systems in place. So born out of that is a couple of things: more alignment with who I was and what I wanted for business, what I wanted from my family, and then also alignment with the time and what we would give our customers, right? And in that, it's a technology business, but with a very human approach. And that was the biggest gap in the marketplace. So it's funny, I took successes and failures from my first business and then reformulated into something that is all reoccurring business, takes way less of my time, solves unique challenges. And at the end of the day, the wonderful thing is, not just me and not just our customers, but our entire staff literally leaves work every single day, super excited because we solve hundreds of problems for customers every day. So instead of this first business where we kind of had to wait months to get to the end to celebrate the success, now, we fix someone's e-commerce website, they can start selling their product again. Yay, there's cheers and they're all
Absolutely.
happy. Yeah, and we're happy. And so it's really great because it's this instant feedback for everything.
And Dylan, from this podcast, we want all entrepreneurs to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. And I think that there is a part of us of entrepreneurs that we don't know because we start to be an entrepreneur exactly like you by accident. Okay, we have a product, we sell it, we're making money, and but when we are in this process to get a product market fit or to make the business work, when we don't know, because we just don't know, we are learning as we're going. Sometimes when you're starting because nobody knows you. You see, you have the client want to pay you little, the supply want to charge you more expensive, and all these negative emotions you accumulate it and keep accumulating until you make the business succeed. Okay, but somehow you don't react if these negative emotions you don't let them coming up in physical pain, people have cancer, heart attack, stress, look at you have an impact in your life, have enough time with family, and we just don't know. We're just trying to make this business work. We need to make some money in the easy because if we don't pay the employees, that's it. What's gonna happen? And we are all embedded in our own micro world that we forget that it's a life around and nobody understands us. Our children, no, they partner because they are not an entrepreneur. So until something happens, we have something, the business collapse, and you have to time to reevaluate. So when do you realize that? Hold on a minute, I have to also work on myself, and 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 what areas? I remember when I was young. I used to go to the office and say, guys, I work 12 hours, 14 hours, oh my God. And everybody goes, whoa, that's amazing. And if somebody come me now and say, Harry, let's make a few million, but I need you to work 12 hours, 14 hours for a year. I said, no, man. I prefer my time to play tennis, to go for the walk, that I love. And so tell me about this process of change, internal in terms of personal development. Because it's I love that all the entrepreneurs become like you, that are like that. Okay, I have a business, but what kind of life I want to do, and I own this business. This business don't own me because the business can literally kill you, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it totally can. I think that the single word that comes to mind, and I've said this before, is alignment. Here's the thing, right? I get it. We get out of school, we start to make money. That's super exciting. And you know what? That's what everyone is. That's all directions pointed towards that. This is what success is. Money, big house, lots of cars, all the things. It's not to say you can't do that and have a family, but I'd say it's really rare, right? It's going to be really, really rare. You're going to hustle, hustle, hustle. And so that's just not sustainable. Yeah, it'll work. It worked for me for 10 years until it crashed in a way that I can't recommend to anyone. So, and I really mean that. I talk about this all the time. I do a little bit of coaching and it's a thing I really focus on because that crash can come in real sneaky ways. It doesn't necessarily, there's a bunch of indicators. For me, it came existentially.
I'm laughing, but it's painful.
Yeah,
I mean, you realize that, oh my God, what I have done to myself. Right. First, you start to think, what have you done to myself?
Right.
You will forget it because it's not like nobody for it. And things in a job, you have a boss that is telling you whatever, and then you press or whatever. But in our case, it's like sometimes we sell something from ourselves for me. Why I open this restaurant? My other business is doing amazing. What I have to so amazing.
Yeah. No, I know.
And for sure, your business, if it was running for 10 years, there was nothing wrong with the business. Right. Probably was something wrong with you, but not with the business. Because if it was something wrong with the business, at year 2, we'll collapse. And maybe not something wrong with you. I'm glad that you take that because you're with a partner. And let's go about this because a lot of people are telling me, I said, guys, if you have to start all over again, what would you do different? And they're always telling me, Harry, culture. I will pay for attention to culture, will pay more attention to the people in the business in the beginning. And always the misalignment that happened with you is that all your culture, personal culture, it was a disalignment with the personal culture of the other founder. And
Right.
that will never, it will explode. If it's
Yeah.
not the beginning, in the middle, because there is no alignment, because you guys have, no, you're a good person, the other person is a good person, you just
Right.
have different color, different way that you believe, and this have impact how you speak. So the huge sensation. So what is your take in culture now? That, for example, you check with me that now you have an amazing culture in your business. You know, you change something. So when something is fixed, are one of the day, everybody, hey, everyone have fun. You have to build that culture, right? And I think because
Yeah.
you are like that, also you have when you solve a client problem and you shift for it, now all the people working with you have mirror that one. Actually, you attract them to your organization, same like you are. But if you have to fund this, if you know they have different culture, you will attract few people that resonate with you. The other family will attract people that resonate with the other one. And in the end, what you described. So take
Yeah.
us what's your opinion in culture and what you recommend to entrepreneurs that have this alignment running business forward.
Yeah, culture is the key to everything, and you know, I'm not going to say that I developed this on my own. I 100% stole so many things from my work and time with Walt Disney Imagineering. I mean, this company has developed a culture to me unlike anything else. From the day I started there, and this has been 30 years ago, you know, they don't call their employees employees; they call them cast members, right? Because everyone has a role to play. And that's just one small aspect of it. The importance of how they integrate
Wow, I love
within
that.
to,
Cast member, I
yeah,
love it.
right. Into all their cast members, they integrate the understanding of what it means to be a cast member. And so we, you know, I've taken a lot of those aspects. A book too that's been really important to me is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So important. Really simple. Four things: be impeccable with your word, don't assume, don't take anything personally, and always do your best. We've literally written that into our company policy. We teach that to our people. Every single issue that I've seen that comes down, whether it's personally or professionally, comes down to one of those things, right? Something happens, and if you backtrack, you're like, oh, I did this wrong. Oh, I assumed that person wanted me to do this. I assumed this. Wrong, right? Or simply, I didn't do the best at this. I kind of half-assed it, right? Every issue comes down to one of those things. So if you can integrate those things into your life and as we've done into our culture, it really takes care of everything. It doesn't mean that we don't have things that go on, right? But it's interesting when you start to say, well, you know what? I'm going to be impeccable with my word. If I tell a customer I'm going to do this, or an employee I'm going to do that, and I do it, done. It's easy. If I don't take personally, so, you know, this happens all the time, right? We get a support ticket or someone calls and they're really upset about something because they're having a problem with their website. Don't take it personally. This is a business thing, right? Answer with complete compassion, understanding that that person is having a really bad day. That solves all kinds of problems. One, your cortisol level doesn't fly through the, you know, you don't get anxiety, but two, you don't piss off the customer because you're snappy back to them. So you can see it's really wild. And I think that's the thing. We build on those aspects. We also do a lot of retrospectives. And I love this. We look back over any issues that have come up and we review those issues, whether they're a really small thing or a big thing. And that helps us to continue to improve. And everyone takes accountability. Accountability is key, right? Even myself, right? I'm like, I am not fallible. I make mistakes all the time, but I'm going to tell you when I did so that we can get past it. It's super important.
And then Dylan, the next question is how you the impact that you have in your family when you design some business have a method to make the business better. And for example, you said that in the second business, you designed it in a way that you can explain sometimes what I realized is that for me it's working very good, walking, playing tennis, these, seasons in green, park, grass, it's actually bring me along with my mental health. And then I perform better in the business. When I was young, a long time ago, I was working this 14 hours trying to solve this problem, but actually I was not effective in these 14 hours. I was just immersing my
Busy. You're busy.
but not effective. And
Yeah.
but I remember that back in the day, I used to feel bad if I was not working because I still have this problem that I don't want to solve it. And I cannot go out with friends, I cannot eat, I cannot face, I cannot do that. I have to solve these problems. Whether now the problems are the same.
Yeah.
And now I just go out, play tennis, visit friends, do everything. And then when I'm working, I'm trying to be as most effective as possible. And I'm still around.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think? When do you discover, Dylan, a better way to be effective?
Sure.
We have to be careful with our thing, right?
Yeah. So I look at a direction that I take now is really designing my role with obsolescence, right? My job is to design my way out of a job. I mean, it's literally to do that, is to make the reliance on my decision making less and less and less every single day. So my first go around, you know what? It starts to feel good when everyone needs you, right? But you really quickly get into a place where, and you hear this from famous people all the time, but it happens in business too. It's like all of a sudden you're stretched so thin because you have to make every single decision because you've placed a level of importance. You haven't empowered the people around you. You haven't delegated smaller tasks. And so when I got into the business, that's what I first perfected it. I wanted to know how everything needed to work. But then I plugged people in, and then we continue to do that. And in fact, even last week, I went down in an exercise that I like to do regularly is literally write down everything that I do as it relates to business every single day, right? And so I'll review that, once a quarter, once every couple of months, and look at, and then I cross-reference that with what are the things so out of these 20 things, what are the things that I'm really good at and not so good at and great at, right? And what are the things that, what are the things that I hate to do? What are the things that I love to do? And you can kind of come up with a grid. And I've used that's just a little tool that helps me see, okay, well, here's the things that I really don't like to do and I'm not good at. Well, those are obvious things that I need to get off my plate and I need to plug someone in. And then it's a factor of just delegating and releasing control. I think, as entrepreneurs, we feel like we have to control every aspect. And I'm super guilty of that. My first business, especially when it came to customers and our clients, to my last set of hires were account people because they sat literally at the tip of the spear. They were right there talking with clients every day. And so we could really fail. We could do a great job, but if the account person wasn't good, or if I didn't think they were going to be good, then we would fail. And I let that get in my way. What helps? Train them, right? Spend time with these people, whether they're building some piece of machinery or talking with clients or running some software system. Spend time with them and make sure you're instilling into them the cultural aspects of what you want, how you want that thing to be done. But then you know what? You got to be okay with the way they do it. And so that delegation is a big part of that. But heck, my job right now is to find a day in the near future when I don't have anything to do and the company's ready to sell, right? Because it's a complete machine working with business and technology all at the same time. And that's when I know I've nailed it.
So, Dylan, tell us a little bit more about how can you help people with your company, and tell us a little bit more about your company, how it works, how this process works, how can you help, right? How you can find.
Yeah, so Sunny HQ, from the very beginning, I looked at where's the gap in the marketplace. It's huge, right? There are lots of big hosting companies out there with great technology practices, right? great platforms. The problem that I found, so for about a year, I started doing the work myself. Instead of a staff of 7 people, I converted sites to WordPress. And then what we do now is we host the site and we maintain them from soup to nuts. So it's a very high level, concierge level system. And I found that, so what I started doing is as I was hosting with these companies, I was asking them questions like I was the business owner, like I was the end owner, right? And what I was finding is this giant gap in the languages 2 people spoke. I'm speaking business speak. Hey, my site's broken. The hosting company was speaking developer technology, high tech speak, and they didn't want to budge, right? They were like, well, what's wrong with it? Well, as you can see, the page doesn't work. I don't know what's wrong with it. That's your job. No, that's not our job. That's pretty much what I found out really quickly. So the funny thing is though, they're selling hosting. I think if you lined up 100 people right now and you ask them, and they all have websites, you ask them what hosting is, they would all answer the same thing. It's a place that keeps my website, running all the time. That's not what you're buying from those guys. And I found there was a real miss in the marketplace. And so what we did is we entered the marketplace as when we say human first, it really means that. If you ask our customers who we are, they're like, man, the website's always running. Anytime I need anything, they're there for me. I mean, it's that simple. That just was really missing in the marketplace. This is the great analogy.
I agree with you. We have huge problems. Huge. We have over 57 websites, and most of them was in the WordPress. My God,
Yeah.
you study. One day I was in Singapore, and my director said, "Harry, all the sites are down." Everything on the sites are down. Yeah. Apparently, a bug went into the WordPress and shut down all the websites that were doing WordPress. And then I'm talking to the hosting company and say, guys, but you should be, you don't have an antivirus or something in your end. Bottom line, we need to rebuild all the websites again.
Oof. Yeah.
And can you believe? And then we changed the hosting company. And
Yeah.
can you believe that in the new hosting company, 1 year, 2 years down the line, the same thing happened again?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to stop everything that I do and sit with my team, with the developers, with everybody, and say, okay, guys, this is it. It's not gonna be extensions.
Yeah.
Let's start. I want to know where the websites go, where's the hosting, what is the capabilities, what is gonna happen. We need to be focused. And now we are on top of that as we speak. And to be honest with you, it has been more expensive, but we had to follow the WordPress because we pay multi developers and we develop a lot of technology. So it's a gap there that you have a WordPress site and you never save.
Yeah.
You never save because
Well, and that's
they tell you whatever and that's it. And you have to start after 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That you keep going with the options or whatever, and you realize that that's it. There is it's not worth it to waste more time. They don't know what.
We see that all the time here. We see that all the time, and the reality is that
several times happened to me. Several. Yeah, and we have a lot of websites.
Yeah, WordPress is actually really, really safe. It's the hosting companies that don't do their job. We've been working now for 9 years. We've had 2 instances of viruses, malware in a website, and they came literally from a password on the customer side, an admin password that somehow got distributed somewhere. And the cool thing in every one of those cases, we're able to pull the malware out really quickly in a couple of hours. And I don't understand that. I get to ask this question all the time. WordPress isn't safe. WordPress isn't secure. It's the problem is the hosting companies don't do some very simple things to keep them safe.
I agree with you. I agree with you because I have a friend that have a lot of websites in WordPress.
Yeah.
Say huge amount, and he never have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, we host a couple.
He hosting himself. He's he's an internet marketer. He knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And he built everything with WordPress and apply on everything. And he never ever have problem with WordPress. Man, sure, I said, when do you host and then whatever? Then turns out that when he hosted it was way too expensive.
Yeah,
He
we
told me,
host
"Harry,
e-commerce.
we host here, but when we check the price of this hosting, it was way too expensive. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
worked for us because, of course, if the companies do whatever they're supposed to do, then what happens if they charge a lot of money?
Yeah. Well, and that's
So that's the
interesting
other
when I
thing.
say when we fix those websites, we don't charge for that. I mean, that's one the real key difference in our sites too is if you look at our plans, we have from small mom and pops to we have some sites that are hosting 2 million products e-commerce, running WordPress, running thousands of transactions per day, all WordPress.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Very impressive.
we're charging them $600 a month to completely take care of their website. So when you look at that in the marketplace, and
Whoa,
the
that is
platform
huge
itself
site.
is extremely fast. Yeah, it's enormous. And so it can be done. The reality is we've built a super solid platform that enables that to happen. And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, then I'm very impressed. So if people want to know more about you guys, what you do, how people can find you, how this process works.
Yeah, they can go to sunnyhq.io and sunnyhq.io/podcast. And I've got a freebie kind of giveaway PDF. So you've got some great tips and tricks on how to look at your website and just some ideas on how you can, have a more safe, secure, and performing website. And obviously give us a call. We're happy to help.
I'm sure most of your clients are like me. People that are frustrated several times because of the
Totally.
hosting
Yeah.
company.
We see it all the time.
This
Yeah.
I agree with you because it's happened to me twice. And when it happens, it's no that you are here or you're prepared for this.
Right.
Like I'm about to go to Singapore.
Right. Yeah.
Singapore,
It's never a good
I'm
time.
in London. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Going nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of Asia, not even in London. And you tell me that all the sites are down, all of them, and there is nothing that we can do.
Yeah.
What thing try to do it all? What is?
Yeah.
And the second time it was also horrible time. I was on the move again. See,
Well,
when it happened,
wish you knew about us when it
in your
happened.
country.
Yeah.
When it happened, in front of your computer and let's see, no. It happened when you actually need the website. You're about to see people need to visit the website to purchase tickets, but it stays to this.
Totally.
And this is when and go so so Dylan, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
What you share is really powerful to deliver the service you do. And also last question. No, last message I want to give for entrepreneurs that want to build a company to exit. Because people get attached to the company, they build their life for the company. It's not your life. You have a life, company is a different entity that have their own life. And eventually, sometimes you need to let the children go. So what message do you have with those companies? And
I think
in order to exit them at the
I mean, and get your ducks in a row, right? I mean, I had a mentor that really ignited me. Find those places in your business that are reoccurring and get yourself out of it. So that's get all your standard operating procedures documented, all your protocols, whether you have systems that are reoccurring or not, bring a system of how you do what you do. That's your intellectual property, right? If you need all human people to do that's fine. There's a system in there that is the real value. And that's until you have that, your business is you and only you. Once you have that, someone can place a value on that because it's a working business that can do something that can scale.
Thank you so much, Dylan. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of The Stock World. How brave entrepreneurs like Dylan break the world and achieve the best result.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.